Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about Run with the Wind by Suon Miura, translated by Yui Kajita. A few years ago, during COVID quarantine period, I watched this anime series called Run with the Wind that I never heard anybody talks about, and it was weird that no one ever said anything about it because I was blown away by how good it was. I've been wanting to read the original novel that the anime came from ever since I heard that it came from a novel, but it was one of those novels that seemingly never been adapted. So imagine my surprise when one day I was browsing through the New Year's discounted book list and saw this book. That's how much the anime left an impact to me that I instantly remembered the title of it. So I took it, hoping that I can cover it and maybe raise more awareness of the book, the author, and the anime if it's at all possible. The story starts in a public bathhouse in Tokyo where the water is too hot for our main character, Haji Kiyose. Because the bath water is too hot for him, he was mostly prolonging his stay in the shower area while talking to one of the bathhouse regulars there. They were talking about the boarding house where he's been staying for the last 4 years, Chikuseiso. There's one empty room left there and he hoped that someone will come and fill it because it is his last year in school and he have to go back home before achieving his dream if the room stayed empty. He went back home after he warmed his body enough and witnessed a person being chased by another. It was a shoplifter being chased by a store clerk. But Haichi's focus was not on the out-of-breath store clerk begging for someone to stop the shoplifter. His focus was on the runner who had such a good form running away from the store clerk. He see in him a path of achieving his dream, so he went after the guy borrowing his neighbor's bike. The shoplifter is Kakeru Kuruhara. He is a runner and he still practice running, although at the moment he's not sure why he still run except for maybe shoplifting some bread to have something to eat, and right now he's definitely running to run away from this weird guy chasing after him in a bike. The guy catches up to him because he is riding a bike, but instead of arresting or stopping him, he asks him, "Do you like to run?" It was such an odd question that he stopped in his track. The guy told him to cool down because stopping immediately after running is not good. They stopped near a vending machine where he brought him some tea while grouping his calves. They talked there and Haji introduced himself to Kakeru. He's a fourth year at Kensei University, the university Kakeru is heading to. Kakeru's told because he just wasted all his money on Mahjong and he had no place to stay now. Haiji used this information to offer him to stay at Chikuseiso, a very cheap dormitory he can stay at. That is how Kakeru got introduced to Chikuseiso. It's an old 2-floor apartment building with 9 rooms, 4 in the first floor and the other 5 in the second floor. The first resident he met was the twin Jota and Joji who just put a hole in the second floor. They were walking normally on it when the floor just gave away and it became a hole where you can look at the first floor. That's how old the place was. After giving a warning to the twin to be careful, they went on to meet Nico Senpai, the resident smoker who have been in the apartment for 8 years. And Yuki, the smart guy of the apartment, a 4th year like Haiji who have passed the bar exam, who are currently arguing because Nico's smoke can be smelled from Yuji's room. After a bit of shenanigans, Kakeru met the landlord's dog Mira and his owner, an old man named Heiichiro Takashi, to get permission to stay in the last room. He then goes on to meet Musa Kamala, an exchange student from America who is currently staying at the apartment. There were 3 more people in the apartment that Kakeru haven't met yet, but he went off to get some sleep in his new room after a busy day. Musa went on to visit 2 more people, Yohei and Takashi, who are currently drinking beer while watching a quiz show. Yohei, who everyone called King, was a quiz aficionado. Meanwhile, Takashi, who they called Shindo, was just there to enjoy King's overly excited reaction from the quizzes. They were talking about quizzes and why King would really like them never apply to one. And then they changed topic to Haiji and his weird obsession on getting the apartment to have a full member of 10 people. But for now, they can only wait for Haiji to tell them the reason. A few days passed since Kakeru stayed at Kyuseiso, and all the time, he had kept his habit of running in early morning and at night. He used to be in competitive running, but he grew to hate it because of the pressure and the jealousy that he gets as he gets better at it, but he still liked running and he still liked getting faster at running. That's why he still keep doing it. In the anime, this is usually where we get some of the best shot of the anime, accompanied by some of the best music by Yuki Hayashi. Because that's what Kakeru is actually doing while running, enjoying the scenery. He was still running when he found Kakeru, who is taking a run along with Mira, the apartment dog, and the 3 of them jogged back to the apartment. The apartment members have been busy with class starting, the twins are looking for clubs with the cutest girl, Nico trying to finally graduate, and some are busy trying to figure out where to find work soon. But they finally managed to throw a welcome party for Kakeru. And it was in this party that Kakeru finally met the final member of the apartment, a gorgeous introvert they called Prince who filled his room with towers of manga. It was also during this party that Haiji finally revealed his plan. He wanted to get a member of the apartment to conquer the summit of Hakone Ekiden, a 2-day relay marathon with 10 people as a team. Everyone of course protested since they were not in the track club of the university, but Haiji revealed that the apartment they've been living at is actually part of the track club and everyone who's been living in it is a member, that's why they can stay there for so cheap. But even if they're all willing, not just everyone can get into the competition. They need to pass the prelim to be able to join Hakone Ekiden. And among the apartment members, some are not even physically active. Nico is an active smoker and Prince is an indoor guy who spent all his days reading manga, and as Musa said, not all black people is good at running. He is one of those black guys who don't fit the stereotype, which means he can run fast. But Haji is convinced that they can go into Hakone Ekiden with this member, and his enthusiasm managed to convince Shindo and Musa. He managed to convince the twins that running the marathon will make them popular with girls, and he managed to convince King that going into the Hakone Ekiden will be good to put into his CV to find work. That's 6 out of the 10 members. For Nico and Yuki, Haiji managed to blackmail them with all the things he has done for them the past 4 years he lived there with them, so that's 8 out of 10. But for Prince and Kakeru, they'll need more convincing, but Haiji at least got 80% of the way there already. But getting swept up by the momentum and actually doing it are a different thing. The next day, everyone is still asleep by the time practice should have started at 5:30 in the morning, and Haiji needed to wake them up himself. They then left to run 10 kilometers back and forth to the river and back to the apartment, including Prince who still refused to join the marathon. They went with Kakeru on lead and Haji keeping up the rear. Most people managed to get to the river without any problem. The twins, Yuki, Shindo and Musa got there with stamina to spare. King is out of breath but managed to keep up with them, but Nico is barely moving when Kakeru went to check. He need to quit smoking to have a chance for preliminary. But he's not as bad as Prince who collapsed in the middle of the road from exhaustion. But everyone somehow managed to finish the 10 km, making them more excited about their accomplishment and the things they can get better at. The landlord, who is actually their coach, even helped build a support group that helps them with their equipment. Nico decided to actually quit smoking, and Prince is even looking for a treadmill so he can practice while still being able to read manga. It is actually possible for this team to go to Hakone Idaten that Kakeru even got excited at the possibility of running there. With Haiji putting up practice menu for everyone, for a while everyone practiced and did their best to jog or run to increase their stamina, speed, and endurance. The tower of manga and treadmill in Prince's room threatened the collapse of the roof into Kakeru's room below it, but other than that, everyone seems to keep up with the training. With Haiji at the center, everyone encouraged each other in their own way. The support group started by the landlord is also doing well, because their practice run goes through the shopping arcade. Everyone now cheers them on as they went. They had matching shirts from them and they had a girl who participated as their manager that uses a bike to join their practice. The team then joined the Tokyo Track Meet competition to get one of the requirements to join the Hakone Idaten prelim. With Haiji bad driving, the team goes to Tokyo where Kakeru had to go to a race after staying away from them for a while. He even met his previous high school team member who now joined the Totai University, who has fully turned as his enemy. And despite their first time there, the team did quite well considering they're a bunch of amateur and Haiji is still recovering from his injury. 8 of them got to the initial prelim except for King who cannot handle the pressure and Prince who is Prince. They went back home to practice, but Kakeru who met his old teammates started getting more anxious. Everyone eventually managed to go below 17 minutes on their 5,000 meter race, including Prince, but Kakeru's anxiety caused him to lash out to the others and they had a fight in the apartment. During the fight, Haiji suddenly collapsed. It was from exhaustion. Haiji has been taking care of everyone after all, including practice, meeting the requirement by going to races, driving, cooking, and his own practice. The team decided to stop the infighting and truly help Haiji with the rest after what happened. Haiji is strong in the truest meaning of the word, and when paired with Kakeru who is a ball of insecurities, they form a nice coach and coachee relation where Kakeru only knows how to run well and sucks at everything, including socializing, learns more about himself and his relation to the world. After going to a training camp funded by the shopping center where they once again got into an argument with a member of Totai University, the team went on to barely make it past the prelim, and they went on into a dramatic conclusive final run on the mountains of Hakone, the steepest in the world. Now, I'll be honest with you, the novel, while it's still good, is not as good as the anime. The anime is not only supported by its art and animation, it has some of Yuki Hayashi's best soundtrack, and the change in the story makes the story better. In the novel, it feels like the crew joined Haiji's shenanigans much too quick. In the anime, they made this more natural, and Haiji's wit and cunningness came through much better. They also introduced Hanako much better and much faster, so she didn't feel like she just popped out of nowhere suddenly. I recommend the anime more than the book, but the book is why the anime exists in the first place for a good reason. Sure, the story itself is a far too common underdog story in a sport, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. Sometimes all you need is instantly likable characters that have a great dynamic with each other. I give this a 4.25. What do you think? Let me know if I miss anything, so leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it. See ya.